and welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday. I'm Erica Fernandez, and I'm here today with Casey Stutzman. Casey, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, what are we talking about today?
So what's something that almost everybody focuses on within their workout routine? They want to have a stronger
Core.
Yeah, like it's huge. Like every training program is core, 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 and it's this huge buzzword in fitness. But I don't think we always fully address core stability as effectively as we could. Like there's a piece that I think gets left out often. And if this piece is not accounted for, we're never going to be as stable or as strong as we could. So when we're looking at the core, like there's a whole bunch of muscles in there. And we want to train the core as one cohesive unit, but starting off, we want to make sure that we're training the core of the core, which would be the diaphragm. So it's this big umbrella-shaped muscle that's really, really deep, 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 deep within the core. If the diaphragm is functioning properly and effectively, then all the other muscles around can do their job effectively. If the diaphragm's dysfunctional or not functioning properly, it's hard for all the superficial muscles outside of that to do their job properly. So how we get the diaphragm to function properly is position and breathing.
Okay.
So a lot of times when I see people that have kind of a weak or unstable core, it almost always coincides with poor breath mechanics. Okay. So basically we become a chest breather instead of a diaphragmatic breather. And we're going to go over a drill on how we can address that, and we can see which category we fit into. The other big thing that happens is we know that stress is a huge part of our day and part of our lives. Right. When we start breathing up here, we call that stress breathing. And that elicits that fight or flight, that fear response. There's actual physiological changes that happen in the body when we start breathing out of up here, and a whole lot of negative stuff. Increased cortisol levels, increased fatigue, there's a whole lot of nasty stuff that comes with that. So if we can really tap into that diaphragmatic breathing, not only can we get a stronger, more stable core, but we can start to bring down cortisol levels, we can start to relax the system. And when the body's relaxed, movement is better. When we're tense and when we're rigid, it's really hard to move well. Yeah. So here's a little tip that you can do at home at any time to make sure that we're getting that breath in there and practice it. So I'm going to have you lay down flat. So the trick is when we're breathing out of the diaphragm, we want to make sure that we're getting some movement and lift in the belly. So I'm just going to put something light on top of your belly button, just this little block. Now it could be a book, it could be anything, just something that's going to sit there. Now you want to keep in this position, the ground is setting a nice, stable, neutral spine for you. So you don't have to really activate or turn anything on. And then from here, with each inhale, I want you to raise the block. And with each exhale, you're going to let it lower. So just having that little responsiveness, something that you're going to bring up and down through there, makes you really get into the belly. Now when you think about that breath, think of a wave. So the belly's going to raise, and then slowly we're going to work up towards the neck. So the belly, the last thing that's going to fill up is the chest, and then same thing on the way down, is we're going to kind of wave down. So inhale, bring that up. Good. Let's try that again. Get the belly going first. You feel how that little bit of that, yeah, it's tough. So inhale, belly comes up, belly, belly, yes. Feel the difference? Yeah. It's challenging, isn't it? Yeah. So now if we notice in this position that it's a little bit off, what do you think happens when we add stress to the situation?
Everything's off.
It goes way off. So you cannot work on this too much. The best time to do this, like late in the day, like especially before bed, it's going to calm us down. It's going to elicit more of that rest and digest response. It's going to start to erase some of the stress of that day. But bigger picture, the better we get at this, the more we work on it, we're going to help feed that strong, stable core by working the core of the core.
And it's also a little bit like meditation as well.
Yes. Yeah. So when people talk about a good yoga practice, this is why breathing is the fundamental cornerstone of a good yoga practice, and why we truly believe that everybody should have some level of yoga practice or movement practice where we can focus on breathing and mechanics, because higher level function builds on this. So if I don't have my breath mechanics down, if I don't have that diaphragm functioning properly, it's trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. It's just going to crumble.
All right, so Casey, so it's something as small as breathing can even have a huge impact on our workouts.
Usually we find when we're talking about physicality and movement and wellness and fitness and all those things, it's those small foundational things that make the biggest overall impact. So if people spent 2 minutes a day doing this, life-changing.
All right, and you can definitely start to feel it in your core. All the muscles are activated, and hey, that can help us reach that six-pack.
Totally.
All right, thanks so much for being here, Casey.
Thank you.
Stay tuned because sports is next.